Today's episode.
I think it's coming out around Valentine's Day, so I'm just doing my part. I just want you to know. Okay.
We call this shock and awe.
That's what I'm going for with my outfit today.
Electrical hazards.
Here we go.
That's today.
Welcome back. Happy February, everyone.
Yeah, electrical hazards, electrical safety, whatever you want to call it. But people ask about this. All right, so first one is I'm wearing a beautiful Art Flash shirt because the clothing's one of the biggest ones we see. Clothing's one of the biggest ones we see. Or they want to wear this thick Art Flash shirt, 100 degrees, and they never do electrical all day.
Yep, then they have a heat stroke. Yep.
So you got to look at the PPE. I'm wearing a dry fit underneath the shirt.
Okay.
Manager gets promoted, they give him a dry fit. We appreciate you, but that dry fit's not Flash rated. And if you don't have the pullover or you don't have something else, there's your gaps. So we're seeing more and more PPE gaps.
I might just go in there right quick and look at that, or I'm just going to walk by.
That's
I've got to sign.
Going to validate it
or whatever. Yeah. Evaluate what's going on, just check on things.
You got to make sure the clothes are right. We've also seen where people will get issued Art Flash clothing on a Monday because they're new. Mm-hmm. All the other uniforms will take 2 weeks. So they take that one home every night and wash it.
And told them what if there's a special way that it needs to be treated or not treated, what can be used to clean it or not.
But they're doing job shadowing every day of people doing electrical work. That's why they have Art Flash clothing. So that's our kind of weird one to start with. Got to watch your PPE. Yep.
And sleeves.
Please. Oh, why'd you roll yours up? Because it's hot out today?
Well, because I like cheetah.
Okay. So my policy for Art Flash just says you need to have it on.
Yeah.
So how did you end up getting burned? You're wearing it. Wearing Art Flash clothing. I bought it. I gave it to you because our policy didn't say fold it down.
The gloves only go to here.
Yeah. Your policy didn't say fold it down, button it. Those are your quick PPE gaps.
Absolutely. Well, I've got more. We'll just see. I have no idea what he's going to cover. So we'll see if he gets all of them.
Let's talk about the voltmeter hazard for electrical safety.
Can be.
Yeah.
Depends who's using it and if they've had training.
We've seen people do it right in front of us.
Like, I've had training. I know what's going on. And I turn literally around to keep managing the drill because I think they've got it. And I'm going to let them do their role.
Something shiny happens.
I'm like, well, that's not how you use that. That's not it should not arc when you test for power.
Voltmeter training.
Yeah.
Right style, how to detect for known source, all that kind of stuff. You got to have some training on it.
Yeah. Well, and so here's the other, let's just tie this in really quick with last week where we said trends, right? We said trends of procedures were a gap, lockout specifically. A lot of times we'll say, oh, you need to check for power. How? Am I using a voltmeter? And that's where this comes in. We have folks that don't have electrical training using voltmeters because we are requiring them to check for power, and there may not be another means to do it. That not everything has a push button, right?
Or our policy just says we're not sure when you got to use the meter. Not sure when you got to use the glove.
Yeah, or we don't say anything.
Or we don't say anything at all. So you got to figure it out. You got is it under 50 volts or 50 volts? You shouldn't have to figure that out.
To wear it and who needs to be trained is something that we do need to hash out a little bit.
That's another gap.
Because you could also say, well, I'm a machine operator or I'm a utilities person. I'm a refrigeration person.
Correct.
We only allow electricians to use voltmeters. That's great. So am I just standing down?
Yeah.
And what is that doing to my downtime? And based on how many electricians I have to get to wherever that person is quickly, are we really just giving them a incentive to not lock out, not check for power, which is not great when we talk about specifically within our industry on the ag side and the meat production side where we wash everything down. And
also, there's another one. Everything's wet.
Stuff outside.
Everything's wet. It seems like where we go. So if it's wet,
fail. The stuff in there kind of melts together, and they have been known to fail.
Yeah, chemicals of.
You just eat them up; they corrode them. Yeah, I mean, we wash everything down on a meat plant floor with corrosives every night.
But you think about how many.
And you can say, "Well, you know what? We bag it. We put bags on it, and that's great. That does, I think, help a little bit.
It still gets condensation.
But it's condensation. Why are we wiping condensation?
Why don't we just put a chlorine puck in there and not worry about it?
Oh, we could.
That way it deteriorates. That way it deteriorates, and we have issues sometimes with that.
Pucks and stuff too. Yes, absolutely.
So it's wet. Wet's the next category. So the wet is one we see a lot where people stand in something and they'll get wet and they go do a task. If your clothing is wet, you've got to go change now.
I've seen in the morning sweeping out with a squeegee out of MCC rooms because
there's so much water.
All the water came in and there was no lip.
All right. Another one is the mills. You got to have a good housekeeping program. I don't mean housekeeping like it makes you feel good and we're going to clean her once in a while. I mean like a real one.
Yeah. So yeah, not everyone is required to have certain levels.
But you could have dust in a mill. You could have dust in a farm. You could have dust in a spice room. I mean, there's a lot of different things you can have. So housekeeping for the electrical.
Yeah. So even if explosion proof stuff does not pertain to you, there is still an increased likelihood when you have a lot of dust particulates or product particulates in the air.
Correct.
That fires can occur. And this is including anything even that's outside, but the equipment is enclosed. So I'm thinking of like enclosed conveyors here.
Well, you can get
stuff with bearings.
You can get equipment that moves product and it gets one little hole in the guarding. Now all that product piles up around the motor or around the shaft seals.
Absolutely.
So, all right. And then my last one here is the program real? See a lot of programs and we're like, it's real thin for electrical. But these massive
really thick
and no one reads
knows what's in it.
You got to make the program what you can actually do. And you got to tell people, hey, this is what our rules are here.
Yeah. So this is going to make all the safety people probably really excited when I say this, but maybe electrical, you're just a stakeholder in managing that program.
Let maintenance manage it.
Yep. Yeah, maybe it really...
Let the electricians, engineering.
If you have an electrical department, it needs to lie with them. If you have maintenance and utilities, maybe you're just a stakeholder and you advise and support and you work together with them, but you don't own that program.
Correct.
And so you kind of turn over some of that to them. Now, again, you want to work with them. You want to make sure it makes sense. You want to make sure that they're getting their gloves changed out and all of those inspections are happening. But you don't have a really, really in-depth understanding of the electrical system at your facility. The electrical in general may be better and actually safer to have that program lie with someone else.
Absolutely.
In terms of the review and the update and making sure that it's reflecting what you're actually doing as well as current FPA 70 standards.
A lot of people say we're not really sure, so we'll hire a contractor. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
We've seen failures with the contractor side. So when we talk about program, we mean like how you're going to manage it there.
Yeah.
What's your checks and balances?
Yeah. Who is qualified? Who's not qualified? Who's getting training? Who's getting the PPE? What kind of PPE? Where do they need to stand? Yep. Who's even doing the labeling of the stickers in the MCC room?
That's correct.
And do they have a clue of what's going on? I know a lot of locations want to save money by doing that, but if you don't have a qualified person that really knows what's going on doing that, it makes it hard to read those one lines. They don't really know what they're looking at. And now you've got stuff that's labeled dangerous that's not, and you've got stuff labeled as a Cat 0 that actually should be labeled dangerous. And it's just very chaotic and confusing. That's not great either.
So electrical safety, a little bit of arc flash, a little bit of floors, a little bit of PPE, some volt. You just got to look at your program.
Yeah,
you got to really take time.
Just do an overhaul, because I think that's one that a lot of safety folks.
It kind of gets pushed over there, like
that's not necessarily most safety folks' core, competency. Along with like the PSM side, it's like the electrical and PSM stuff we're just going to shove over here and kind of And so maybe just really sit down with the other affected people at your location. Like I said, utilities.
They're the experts.
Electricians.
They're the experts on how it works.
Work with them and together in a room. Just sit down in a room together and just work through it.
These are our opinions. These are our opinions.
Yeah. Do a thorough risk assessment of what makes sense to your location. These are our opinions. So take it for what you want. If you want more support, safety evaluations, I don't love the word audit because it's not really what we do. And if you want a safety audit, a safety evaluation, some baseline information on where you are, safety.com is a great resource. We walk you through real life solutions that you can actually do. Yep. This is not going to be an evaluation sitting in an office. We don't do this. So all floor-based, production area-based, and then otherwise, if in-person stuff's not in the budget this year, head over to allensafetycoaching.com. We've got over 100 different videos for training over there. That's a great resource. And you also get free email-based coaching with Joe and I. So that's a huge incentive. So if you want some support, but site's not in the budget, that's a great in-between to kind of help get you through. And until next time.
Thank you for part of our channel.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. So Take care, everybody. Have a safe week, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to Safe, Efficient, Profitable, a worker safety podcast. If you're looking for more in-depth discussions or step-by-step solutions on all of the different safety and regulatory topics, please visit us at www.allensafetycoaching.com for web-based virtual coaching and training, or at www.allen-safety.com to book our team for on-site services, training sessions, to order merchandise, to learn more about our team and what services we provide in the field, or just simply to request a topic for us to cover on our next podcast. If you found today's podcast helpful and would like to support our podcast further, please help us by subscribing, liking, and sharing this podcast with anyone that could benefit from the information we cover here, as that helps us to continue to put out this free content. Thank you so much for your support.